Declan Rice has shown his worth to the Arsenal faithful as he engineered a comeback for Arsenal to come from 2 goals down against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge overnight. What's going on, guys? It is Ketch back with another video on the channel. How's everyone doing? And yeah, it's been another interesting week in weekend, I should say, in football. Thank you so much for the support on the previous video. If you haven't already, please do like, share, and subscribe, as it does mean a lot if you do. And yeah, looking to get to 150 subscribers as the next goal. And yeah, so Declan Rice, if you didn't see overnight, was the one who kick-started Arsenal's comeback against Chelsea last night. Chelsea were actually 2 goals up in the game against Arsenal, but it took a mistake from Robert Sanchez, who gave Declan Rice practically an open goal. Rice started to score from some distance, and then Bukayo Saka set up Leandro Trossard to stab home past Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper, late on in the second half to grab Arsenal an equaliser and a push for victory. But alas, no one could actually find a winner in that game. Probably the best goal of the game was probably Michaela Mudrik's goal, although I'm pretty sure he was looking to cross the ball and not actually shoot. You can actually see his surprise when it goes in. This is a guy who's only scored once in God knows how long before that. So when he scored this goal, you can see the utter look of surprise in his face. But for a professional elite keeper like David Raya to be getting lobbed by someone like Mudryk must have been very, very embarrassing for him. But yeah, I don't think he'll be wanting to see that replay over and over again. Ramsdale's probably looking over his shoulder going, what the hell was that, sort of thing. But yeah, 2-2 draw, share of the spoils, and Declan Rice once again showing he is Rice baby and proving his worth to the Arsenal faithful. The other massive game taking place overnight was the Merseyside Derby between Liverpool and Everton, and as you probably guessed, the Liverpool, as per usual, got the victory over 10-man Everton at Anfield, and it was Mo Salah, the unstoppable Egyptian, in fine form again. He bagged a brace on the day, although he had to work hard for it, as his first goal only came in the 75th minute via a VAR approved penalty for a Michael Keane handball, which is more obvious than any other handball I've ever seen in my life. But yes, Salah doing the bits he can for Jurgen Klopp's side, and Darwin Núñez was also very influential in setting up Mo Salah's second goal. But you did hear me mention Everton went down to 10 men early, or late on in the first half, I should say, where the former ex-Manchester United player Ashley Young, now playing for Everton, was shown a second yellow card for a second bookable offence. And you probably can feel a bit hard done by, because his first yellow card was probably a little bit harsh, but he had no complaints for the second, and he was rightly shown his second yellow card and marching orders by the referee. And Liverpool practically controlled the game from that point forward. Everton went into a shell in the second half and tried to defend and park the bus, but it wasn't enough as Liverpool ran out 2-0 winners. Although Ibrahima Konate should have been sent off for a second bookable offence as well, but he was on the luckier side of the referee's book in today's game. But Sean Dyche was not happy. He was shown a yellow card on the bench by the referee for his protests to the fourth official, and you can see why. The refereeing in England is very inconsistent, as we've seen throughout the course of this season so far, and I suspect it'll only get worse throughout the season. But at least the handballs across a few of the games today were consistent and following the laws, not one given and another one not given. But anyway, Everton stay down the bottom of the table, whereas Liverpool continue their march up the top. They're only 1 point behind leaders Man City, and we'll see what happens in the next few game weeks. Newcastle, meanwhile, continue their push for the Champions League's top 4 spots as they absolutely hammered Crystal Palace 4-0 at St James's Park overnight, and it was mostly Jacob Murphy doing all the damage. He got 1 goal and 2 assists as Newcastle cruised past a very under par Crystal Palace, who seemed to look very lost and weak without their former talisman Wilfred Zaha. But this is a Newcastle we've come to see, I should say, since the Saudi Arabian ownership has taken over. But it was actually one of their homegrown talents, Jacob Murphy, that did everything for them overnight, and he seems to be gelling really well in that Newcastle side, alongside the likes of Kieran Trippier, Alexander Isaac, Anthony Gordon, and the Longstaff brothers. And this was just another marker in Jacob Murphy's career so far. He sort of stepped up the back end of last season. I remember a game against Tottenham where he absolutely destroyed him and scored a worldie. from quite a substantial distance that time. But yeah, Newcastle are on the up. They've got a trickier campaign this season with the Champions League in place. They've actually done well. They've actually dismantled PSG 4-0 at home. That was it was 4-0. I think it was 4-1 actually in the end. But yes, they absolutely hammered Kylian Mbappe's PSG. But we're here to talk about their Champions League exploits rather than their Premier League exploits. And overnight they were too good and too strong for Crystal Palace. And I think Newcastle are going to be up there at the top of the table, somewhere in that top 4 to 5 teams, I would think. But yeah, it remains to be seen, unfortunately, what happens to Crystal Palace. They just weren't at the races today, and it shows. Pep Guardiola's men, meanwhile, edged their way past a tricky Brighton side at the Etihad overnight. Early goals to Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland gave Man City a 2-0 and pretty comfortable lead for the majority of the game. And yes, that Haaland and Alvarez link-up is looking quite lethal. Add in Phil Foden, and once a returning Kevin De Bruyne comes to this Man City side, they're going to look pretty lethal. They've been a bit shaky the last couple of weeks before the international break. They did lose their last 2 games prior. But yes, now their normal service has been resumed at the Etihad with this victory over Brighton. But they were made to work for it in the end by Brighton's loanee from Barcelona, Ansu Fati, who got one back on 73 minutes for Brighton, but unfortunately for Roberto De Zerbi's men, it wasn't enough as they fell to a 2-1 defeat at Manchester City. But I think for Brighton, they'll be fine this season. The amount of talent they have in that team with Fati, Matoma, Evan Ferguson, for example, is going to take in places. They've got a Europa League campaign as well, which I've been keeping a keen eye on as well, so I think they'll be right. Speaking of Manchester, Man United had to squeeze past Sheffield United this morning. Scott McTominay gave the Red Devils the lead, which was quickly shut out by an Ollie McBurney penalty for Sheffield United, but Diogo Dalot beauty gave the Red Devils all 3 points on the road. But I think with United, they've just struggled this season. It doesn't matter if it's against top teams or lower teams. They have found a way to win, but they've just struggled to sort of get out of second gear. It looks like Ten Hag seemingly has found some formula to keep Manchester United firing at this point in time, but it'll just be what remains to be seen what happens with United across the rest of the season. I think they're a good side under Ten Hag, but they just got a lot of individuals who seem to do a lot of stuffing up from time to time. Now it's time for KetchUP's Play of the Week, a new segment I've put on this show, and it goes to San Marino, the lowest ranked international team in the world. And the biggest Play of the Week for San Marino was the fact they scored a goal. They're first in almost a year. It's 11 months actually since they last scored in a draw against St. Lucia, but they actually scored against Denmark, who I think is one of the top 20 teams in international football, and it was actually Rasmus Højlund who gave Denmark the lead. They were 1-0 up, and then Alessandro Golianucci equalised for San Marino on 61 minutes, which cued amazing scenes from the San Marino bench and from the official San Marino account on Twitter. You can actually have a look at I might actually include it in this video. I probably will. It's probably popping up somewhere on the screen right about now. But yeah, he went berserk, as did the rest of the San Marino footballing community, as they scored their first goal in just under a year, but still searching for their first win since 2004, unfortunately. So unless something changes between now and next year, San Marino will go 20 years without an international win, which is a sad thing, but unfortunately that's what happens when you're the lowest ranked team in the world. You just get absolutely battered by teams left, right and center. That has been the end of this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please do like, share and subscribe so you never miss an upload, and I'll catch you up with another video very soon. Have a good one, guys. See ya.